Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So the topic for today's pick a card reading was actually first suggested over on Patreon, and I absolutely love this topic. It's 5 pieces of advice from your angels in order for you to achieve your personal 10 of Cups. So basically your own personal version of the utmost happiness and fulfillment. And all of the decks that we're using in today's reading, so the 3 beautiful tarot decks that you saw in the thumbnail, as well as the oracle deck that we're going to be using in all 3 groups, was created by the amazing Saint Soleil and provided to us by our wonderful sponsor Tarot Stack. Saint Soleil has created these visually stunning decks for tarot readers of all levels of knowledge and experience. For instance, if you are a beginner in tarot, or if you just feel like you need a little bit of help interpreting the cards, then the Lucid Dreams Beginner's Tarot would be perfect for you. It comes in 2 different colors, so there's the classic beige edition as well as the black eclipse edition. Each card has keywords on it for both the upright and reverse position, and the keywords are written in a smaller font at the edge of the cards. The letters are gold foiled and low contrast, so they're not the main focus of the card, which I really appreciate. I find that this makes it a lot easier to gradually stop relying on the keywords because they're not jumping out at you, but they're there if you need them. The first tarot deck that I ever bought as a beginner also had keywords and phrases on it, and I would have loved to have these Lucid Dream decks as a beginner. The keywords are accurate in the sense that they don't sugarcoat the meaning of the cards, and there is a clear distinction between the upright meaning and the reversed meaning, but at the same time there is also room left for interpretation so that you can strengthen your intuitive muscles. You can even take your own notes in the guidebook, which I love. I am a firm believer in creating your own personal relationship with the tarot cards, and so having the space to take notes allows you to keep track of the different interpretations that you discover, and of course keep track of the readings that you've done for yourself. The cards also include astrological symbols, zodiac signs, and elemental keys. The artwork is inspired by more traditional decks such as the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but with the creator's own unique variations. And I appreciate that the creator stayed true to a lot of the more traditional imagery because it's really important for beginners, I think, to familiarize themselves with it. Even as a more advanced reader, I use these decks frequently just because they're so beautiful. If you're a more advanced reader yourself, you will love the Mystic Dreams Advanced Tarot. This is a gorgeous deck that features more abstract imagery, and this one doesn't come with a guidebook, so you are completely using your own intuition and your own previous knowledge of tarot. The Child of the Universe Oracle, which we will also be using in today's reading, is great for intermediate and advanced readers. This is a 60 card deck which is inspired by astrological elements such as the zodiac, planets, and moon phases. I personally am obsessed with this one. I absolutely love the guidebook and how thorough it is. You can really feel the love and care that the creator put into this project. Our sponsor Tarot Stack is currently having one of their biggest promotions of the year on their site. You don't need any sort of discount code for this, it's applied automatically. On their site you can get $20 off on orders of $120 or more, and you can get 15% off all decks published by Tarot Stack, which I'll have linked down below. These are all decks that they have worked on with indie creators. I have all of these, they are amazing quality, and I'm so grateful for their support towards indie creators in our community. Thank you so much to Tarot Stack for sponsoring today's video. Thank you so much to you guys for listening to that. And now let's get on to the reading. Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So in today's pick a card reading, we are going to be getting 5 pieces of advice from your angels. This is a topic that was suggested over on Patreon, and it was a very popular suggestion. The way it was worded exactly is 5 pieces of advice from your angels in order to achieve your personal 10 of Cups. So essentially your own personal ultimate happiness and fulfillment. So there are 3 groups to choose from today, and we are going to be using a different tarot deck for each group. These are all decks created by Saint Soleil. We have the Lucid Dreams Beginner's Tarot, the Mystic Dreams Advanced Tarot, and then this is another edition of the Lucid Dreams Tarot, but it is the Black Eclipse edition. So because of the theme of today's reading, I'm going to show you guys the 10 of Cups from each deck. And so you can choose whichever one you feel drawn to the most. Without further ado, let's get a close-up look at each of your options. So for my number ones, here is the Lucid Dreams Tarot and the 10 of Cups. For my number twos, here is the Mystic Dreams Tarot and the 10 of Cups. And for my number threes, here is the Lucid Dreams Black Eclipse edition and the 10 of Cups. Okay, so here are all of your options laid out side by side. You can compare them and see which one is calling to you the most. As always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number one. Hi number ones, and welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much to your angels as well. Basically, for this reading, we are going to use one tarot card and one oracle card each for the 5 pieces of advice that you will receive. So I'll pull 5 cards from the Lucid Dreams Tarot that you guys chose, and then 5 cards from the Child of the Universe Oracle, which is also by Saint Soleil. Thank you so much once again to Tarot Stack for providing these lovely decks. I did test this reading on myself, and I will mention that sometimes it came through as like a piece of advice in terms of something I should do. And then other times it more so came through as just an insight from my angels, like something to remember as I move forward. So I think I'll leave it open whether your angels want to give like an advice of action or just an advice of something to keep in mind. And then, is there anything else I want to mention? Yes, I will be taking reversals today because I want to use the feature of this deck that has keywords on both sides. A couple of intuitive messages that came through for my group number ones. This could be like your energy check. First of all, I had a visual of a pink flower coming to my mind, which could be significant. And there was also a message about a natural sweetener that comes from a flower. I thought about it for a bit, and I thought this might be referring to honey, because like that comes from bees sucking the nectar from flowers, but something about a natural floral sweetener was coming to my mind. There was also a clear message from your angel saying, remember who you are doing this for. So as you work towards your goals and your dreams, it's very important that you keep in mind who this is for. This is going to keep you on the right track. So whether that's just you, like you're doing this for yourself, or whether it's for yourself and some others, just get very clear on that, because I think what your angels were showing me is that you sometimes tend to get preoccupied with the opinions or judgments of others, but you're not even doing it for them. So why would that be relevant? Like if you're working towards a goal and you're like, I'm doing this for my family, then yes, maybe your family's opinions matter on the topic. Or, you know, I make these videos for you, so your feedback is important. But the feedback of like a random stranger being like, oh, you really believe in that tarot stuff? It's like, well, I'm not doing it for you. So I'm not, you know, there's some message like that where be discerning about who you take feedback or opinions from, because it's like, am I doing this for you? Remember who it's for at the end of the day. That's really going to help you. They also want you to know that you are protected. And they want you to remember that when you do these kind of protection rituals or prayers, it's really about the intention. It's not about the specifics of the ritual, it's just about the intention. So there's no need to worry about, like, did I do the ritual properly? Your angels are not going to say something like, oh, well, you're wearing that protection bracelet on the wrong hand, so we're not gonna protect you, or like, you said the incantation wrong. They read your energy, they read your intention. You're already calling protection in. And also remember that you don't have to rely on another being to protect you. You have your own built-in protection system. Just like the human body has its own immune system to fight off germs. And yes, we can take supplements from the outside and put them in our body to reinforce it, but you already have that innate ability to ward off germs and viruses and stuff. And it's the same thing spiritually. And I just saw 444 when I said that, which is literally the angel number of protection. So my group number ones, you really, really need to know that you are protected. And a lot of it is you. Like, yes, your angels are reinforcing the protective shield around you, but a lot of it is generated by your own self. So believe in your own ability to protect yourself. And also be careful that you're not giving too much power to negative superstitions. Like, oh, that's a bad omen, or, oh, I saw this sign, it means that danger is coming. Don't give power to that kind of superstition, because what your angels are saying is the stress that you feel or the fear that you feel over someone sending negative energy your way is actually worse than anything someone could send you. The panic of receiving negative energy is worse than any negative energy someone could send you. And, speaking of which, we were talking about germs. It's like, if you're so afraid to go out and catch germs out in public, and then you make yourself sick from stressing about it, so the stress was actually worse than anything the germs could do. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so let's get into it. The first thing I want to do actually is get a message for you from the Child of the Universe guidebook. I am obsessed with this guidebook. It is so comprehensive. I would even read it without the deck because it is just so full of useful information. So let's see what we get for my group number ones. Okay, so this reflection is a message for you. It's on page 34 and 35. It's a wonderful idea to keep a spiritual journal as a place to document your oracle card readings. To complete and close the energy of the reading, it's advisable to write and reflect on the reading you just conducted. Include the date, the question you asked, the spread of cards, and your interpretations and answer. A few weeks or months later, come back to the reading to reflect on the messages you once received and muse over what has transpired since. This is a great way to develop your card reading skills, confirm and validate your intuition. I love this message. I feel like this is part of a how to use the deck section of the book, but this message on its own, I think, is super valuable. I did want to mention, when I finished reading that passage, the camera timer was at 7:19, which is personally my birth time. So you might be seeing your birth time or your birthday numbers as a sign from your angels. Reading that, what I intuitively felt is that there's another piece of advice from your angels to take a quality over quantity approach when it comes to watching readings or doing your own readings, rather than just watching a bunch of them as a way to pass the time or as a way to distract yourself, which honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with any way you choose to engage with readings. But I think that for this moment in time, for my group number ones, your angels seem to be suggesting to watch or do fewer readings, but then really take notes and really reflect on the messages that come through, rather than just taking it all in and then being okay, on to the next reading, more. Really savor the information you're receiving, write it down, journal about it, come back to it at a later date, like the guidebook said. You'll find that you get all the messages you need, all the clarity that you need, and you don't need as many readings. You don't need as much external feedback or external stimuli as you think. A lot of the ability is already right there inside of you. Okay, so finally, let's get into your cards. Okay, starting with your tarot. 1 and 2. 5 pieces of advice for my group number 1s. There's 3. 5 pieces of advice for my group number 1s. I'm also seeing a white bird, and it kind of looks like a duck or perhaps a goose. And now I'm thinking of the game Duck, Duck, Goose. The letters D and G could also be significant somehow. Okay, and let's get our oracle cards. There's a feeling of an angel being present to the left and slightly above your head. Okay, this is very specific. It's like if you were standing on ground level, this angel would be to your left and then kind of where the second floor of a building would be. So they're like one floor above you. And they have kind of a smaller presence than how I would normally envision an angel. So perhaps they have a childlike energy, or perhaps it's like a small animal who's watching over you. Maybe they're just compacted. I don't know what that means. Okay. I'm also seeing a light blue color for one of your angels, like a light blue aura surrounding them. Two. There's a lot of ruckus going on outside. I don't know what that is. Like, it sounds like a bunch of people talking at the same time. Okay, the cards are coming out pretty quickly. That could be a sign of something's about to accelerate in your life, or things are going to move in a very smooth, direct, and easy to understand way. So let's reveal our cards. We have the King of Pentacles in the upright, the Two of Pentacles in the upright, the King of Swords in reverse, the Four of Wands in reverse, and the Two of Wands in reverse. For our oracle cards, we have Pluto in the upright, Balance and Harmony in the reverse, Eclipse in the upright, Child of the Universe. Oh, so that's the title card of the deck, and it's in the reverse. And we have Pisces in the upright. Okay, so we are just going to go through these in order as your 5 pieces of advice or your 5 insights from your angels. starting off with the King of Pentacles in the upright and Pluto in the upright. For your keywords, we have practical leader, prosperity, business, security, provider, abundance, reliable, safe, kind, patriarchal, protective, and sensual. Intuitively, I feel from these cards that there's a piece of advice to really commit to something and to go all in on something. And your angels are saying the intention to commit is not enough. Okay, so it's like just telling the universe, okay, universe, I'm ready. I'm gonna commit to this path. I'm gonna go all in, is not enough. It's like some action is required, some tangible step is required to make it official, I'm hearing, to lock it in. I think that this might have to do with, it could have to do with your work or your business or a transition that you've been wanting to make, but you can't be on the fence about it. It's like you have to be all in or all out with it. There's a piece of advice to fully commit. The King of Pentacles is someone who is very good at something. I often see him as an expert. He's a natural. He has that magic touch. Whatever he does, he's going to be successful. And if there's anything that has been holding you back from committing, I feel like it could be some doubts about your competence, or like if you're going to be able to make it work. And your angels are saying when it comes to this endeavor, real commitment has some feeling of there's no going back in this situation. So an example of this is like, if you move out of your house into a new house, you can't like move back to the old one. There's something you need to fully commit to without a way of going back, or we need to release the need to have a safety net. Like we might need to take some kind of risk to make it happen. But the thing is, if you fully saw that you were made for this, because you are, if you fully saw that you were made for this and you're bound to be successful because of how competent you are, you wouldn't really see it as that risky. It's kind of a given that you would be successful with your level of skill, with your level of knowledge, with your level of experience. Okay, and of course, I understand having a healthy level of caution, but being on the fence about something, I feel, is hindering your success. It's like if you keep putting 50% into it, it's going to be really hard to be successful, or it's going to take a really, really long time. If you commit 100%, it will happen quickly, but maybe there's something scary about committing 100%. I just looked up and saw 1717, which is the number of the star. So everything is going to turn out greater than your expectations. And yeah, I sort of get the feeling with these, you could be underestimating how good you are at something. It's really coming through like you're a natural, you were born for this, you have the magical touch. And also underestimating your influence, or the level of influence you can have in a certain field, like what you can really offer to that space. I feel like you're underestimating. Because there's a message of, if you knew how competent you were, if you knew how amazing you were, committing 100% wouldn't really feel risky, because it's like, of course you're going to do well. Okay, so that's your first piece of advice. Then we have the Two of Pentacles, and we have balance and harmony in the reverse. So I feel like these two things are kind of related, because this talks about multitasking, decisions, weighing up options, multiple priorities. And so putting these together, there's an insight that juggling multiple things at a time is going to disrupt the balance in your life. It's going to lead to stress. I'm thinking of that expression that says, if you try to chase two rabbits, you're not going to catch either of them. You know, like if you imagine there's two rabbits running around, if you zone in on one and just chase that one, then you're probably going to catch it. But if you're trying to chase a bunch of rabbits at the same time, you're just going to run around in circles and get exhausted and not really see fruition in any of the rabbits or see progress. So our energy and efforts might be a little bit scattered between too many things right now. For some of you, this could literally be about just focus on one thing right now, or pick one thing that's going to be your priority. Because I guess it's not realistic to do one thing with your whole life and all of your time, but I think your angels are giving advice to make it clear to you, to yourself, and to others in your life what your number one priority is. If you have more than one priority venture, if you have more than one priority goal, that's where I think you're going to start running around, and it's like, I'm hearing trying to put out fires in multiple places and not really seeing results anywhere. So yeah, maybe it's not that you literally have to just do one thing with your life, but to choose one priority. And this is going to help to really maintain the balance in your life and also help you with discerning what you should commit to or what you should add to your schedule, because you'll be able to ask yourself, like, is this honoring what my top priority is, or is it disrupting the balance of my priorities? Maybe even get clear in writing, like, what is my one big main thing, and then what are kind of my side things that are less important right now, rather than trying to do all of it all at once. Okay, for piece of advice number 3, we have the King of Swords in reverse, and we have eclipse. The keywords on the King of Swords in reverse are irrational, dictator, controlling, cold, ruthless, inhumane, dishonest, manipulation, controlling, and abuse of power. So this could be someone else that you're dealing with. It could also be an aspect of yourself. Like if there's an aspect of yourself that is quite unkind to you, sort of like a very harsh inner critic, or an aspect of yourself that tries to micromanage and pick apart everything that you do. This could even be, like, if this is an aspect of you, it probably came to be because of conditioning or an experience that you've had with someone else. I just want to look at the upright keywords as well. I think an insight that your angels have for you is that there's a fine line between having high standards for yourself and high expectations for yourself, and then being straight up rude. Because having high expectations for someone can actually be an act of love, because it's like, I know your potential, I know what you're capable of, and I want to help keep you on track. But then sometimes people will use those good intentions as an excuse to be unkind. So maybe the piece of advice here is to discern between the difference. And you can tell, okay? Don't let anybody gaslight you, I'm hearing. You can tell if someone's criticism is because they want to see you succeed. Okay, I'm thinking of, there's a music reviewer that I watch called Zach Campbell. I really love his content. And he has made videos that are very critical of artists, but he loves those artists. And you can really tell when he's criticizing their work, it's because he loves them. So he's not attacking the artist. He's saying like, I know you're capable of amazing things. Like, I want more for you. that kind of vibe. And then you can also tell when he does not like the artist he's talking about and is just like ranting about it. And there's a distinct difference, and you can tell. So when it comes to your own work, you can tell when someone's giving you constructive feedback because they really care about you and care about your work and want to see you do your best. And you can tell when people are just being rude. So don't let a rude person gaslight you, I think is the advice. Because they'll try it. They'll say like, I'm just telling you this because I care. And it's like, you would not be saying these things with this wording if you really cared. Their insight is you can tell. You can discern that. And that kind of goes back to the initial message of remember who you're doing this for. When someone is giving you criticism, just ask yourself, am I doing this for you? And if the answer is no, then it doesn't matter. I'm also thinking of when a social media creator goes viral. So the people who are seeing their post, it goes from their fan base to like the general public. And you'll see when it's just within their fan base, the feedback is mostly positive. When it goes to the general public, suddenly they're getting flooded with negativity. And it's like, well, my work isn't for the general public. Like, okay, maybe the algorithm glitched and suddenly all these random people are seeing my work. But I have to remember that my niche content is not for them. And I don't really, their feedback may not be super relevant. I don't know, maybe your angels are preparing you for being seen by more people, or you're putting something out there into the world and receiving feedback on it, and they just want you to be very, very discerning about the feedback you're receiving, how you take it, who you listen to. There's also a saying of don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from, or like don't take life advice from someone if they're not living the life you want to live. I don't know if that resonates with you, but I just thought I would throw that out there. But with the eclipse, I feel like discerning in this way could be quite a game changer for you, and it could bring great clarity to you. So that's why they're bringing this to your attention now. Piece of advice number 4. This is very interesting. We have the 4 of Wands, which can be about like domestic life, marriage, settling down in your happy home. And we have Child of the Universe in the reverse. And the artwork on this, I feel like if I turn it upright, YouTube will realize there's a boob on it. So I'm just gonna keep it like this. But it's like a mother nursing her baby. So we have this kind of domestic family life, home life, marriage and children kind of energy going on. And then we have it in the reverse. So for those of you, I feel like there's a few different ways to interpret this. For those of you who are not interested in settling down, I feel like your angels are validating that. Their piece of advice to you is to validate yourself. Because I think, especially if you're a woman, and especially I think in certain cultures, it can depend on the culture too, there's like more pressure to get married and have children, or to do so by a certain age, or to do so with a certain type of person. And your interests may not align with those of your family or the people around you. For example, maybe your family's really pressuring you to get married and you're like, and they're like, yeah, get yourself a nice spouse to take care of you. And you're like, I don't really feel like I need that. Or when are you gonna give me grandchildren or something like that? Or maybe all of your friends are getting married and having kids and you're just not ready, or you're not feeling like you want to. And then you're like, am I gonna regret this? Am I weird? And your angels are saying absolutely not. Like, If you don't want it, you don't want it. Maybe it's not your time yet, or maybe that's just not in your future. And so I think the piece of advice is really just to validate yourself and to not let that kind of peer pressure or family pressure get to you. It could also be the opposite. Maybe there's someone who deep down, that's their biggest goal, is like, I just want to be a parent. I want to be a mother. And then they feel society judging them for that and being like, what, you don't have any career goals for yourself? So it can go both ways. Whether you feel pressure to want these things or you feel pressure to not want these things. This could even be about really, really wanting to get married and then feeling judged about that because it's like love shouldn't be the most important thing. And it's like, okay, but I want connection. Like, is that so bad? So yeah, I can kind of interpret this in a couple of different ways, but I think at the end of the day, this piece of advice is about validating yourself for whatever your goals are when it comes to getting married or not getting married, or who or the type of person you want to settle down with, regardless of like age, gender, nationality, whether you want the traditional marriage or something more unconventional. Don't let anybody invalidate what you want. Especially your close circle, like family and peers. It's coming through like that. And actually, we have this keyword of leaving home. And maybe for some of you, going outside of your immediate circle, you'll realize that there's actually a lot of people like you who want the same things as you, who want the same type of relationship as you, or maybe who don't want a relationship at all. You might feel like the black sheep, but then when you come out of your immediate circle, you'll realize that there's actually a ton of black sheep all over the world, and that you're actually not weird. Like what you want for your future is very, very normal. It's just that society has made this one thing normal, which is a straight monogamous marriage and a nuclear family, but whatever you want is valid. Okay. That's the insight from your angels. And then finally, we have the Two of Wands in reverse, and we have Pisces. My eyes are going to this plans falling apart because that just feels very Piscean to me. Letting something just fall apart and embracing the chaos. We also have not taking action, playing it safe, avoiding risk. So I feel like that's kind of a nod back to this first piece of advice, which was to go all in with something, to commit 100%. Pisces can also talk about escapism, like running away from your problems or distracting yourself from your problems. And we have small thinking. Okay, I don't know if this is going to resonate for everybody, but I feel like some of you might be distracting yourself with smaller problems in order to avoid the big ones. Or focusing on smaller problems that don't matter because at least that gives you a sense of control. Whereas when you focus on the bigger problems and the bigger questions, you feel more chaotic. You feel more out of control. Choosing something to focus on that is smaller, that is easier, that is more clear cut. So maybe this thing that your angels are encouraging you to commit 100% to doesn't have a clear instruction manual of like, I don't know, you take this class, you get this qualification, you apply to this job, step 1, 2, 3, boom, you're successful. It may be more just nebulous and vague with this Pisces energy. 3333 as I'm saying that, but that's what makes it beautiful. And that's what calls on you to use your creative abilities. And that's why not everybody can do it. Not everybody is tapped into that creativity, but you are. And you need to remember that. This is the energy of someone who sees a blank canvas and gets overwhelmed because there's no like guidelines to fill in. And your angels are saying, that's not you. Are you forgetting how divinely creative you are? You know your way around a blank canvas. I know your soul. I know what you're capable of creating. When you're free without guidelines, that's where you really shine. And I feel like it's some kind of conditioning that has made you think you need the guidelines. It's like you forgot your own divine creative ability. And I don't want to say like your angels are sad, but they're showing me you as this amazing painter. And then you forgot that you can paint. And you're standing in front of the canvas like, well, who's going to tell me what to draw? Where's the outline? And then your angels are looking at this like, oh my, what? Group 1 is saying that? The master artist, group number 1 is saying that? Did they forget? We've seen your work. We've seen what you can do. Some conditioning has made you forget that. And so it's like you focus on things that are safe. You focus on things that are smaller to avoid that big blank canvas that is calling to you. And I'm hearing begging you to do something interesting. People keep drawing boring shit on me, the canvas is saying. People keep drawing this weird paint by numbers stuff on me. Come back. I'm begging you, come back and do something interesting. I miss you. As I'm saying this, there is a black spider crawling across the desk. He's actually very cute. He has little white hands and he's crawling around and going like this with his little white hands. I saw him yesterday too. I don't know what his name is. Maybe Trevor. I don't know. Hello, Trevor. He's on my DJ desk, which is also black. It suits him. That's so cute. It looks like he's wearing little white gloves. I found out what kind of spider it is. I will show a picture, so if you don't like spiders, you can look away. But here's the baby. And in fact, this patterning is a male, so the name Trevor suits him. And they are harmless and they don't spin webs. They just walk around your house and eat little flies. And the article said they're not scared of people, which I think is really cute. So they'll just be walking around your house during the day and saying hello. I actually don't know where he went, but I'm sure he'll come back out. Oh, there he is. He's on the windowsill. I love his little hands. It's so cute. I don't know how you pronounce that. Aidenson? A dancing house jumping spider. Yeah, they like bloop, boop, boop. They hop around. It's very cute. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so I think that those are all of the messages for my group number 1s. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch over 100 exclusive pick a card readings, just like the ones on my channel. They are timeless, so you can watch them at any time, and you can also decide on the topics for future readings. Like I mentioned in the intro, this topic was actually suggested over on Patreon. And my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. And I will have these decks linked down below if you would like to check them out. Thank you so much once again to Tarot Stack and Saint Soleil, who is the creator of these decks. And thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to your beautiful angels who came through today. Thank you so much to them. Your higher self, anyone who appeared in this reading and their higher self, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and any other realms. and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Hi, number twos. Hi, number twos. Look at this baby. She's so cute hiding her head. Anyway, let's get into your reading. Hi, number twos, and welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much to your angels as well. Basically, for each of the 5 pieces of advice, we will get 1 tarot card from the Mystic Dreams tarot that you guys chose, and 1 oracle card from the Child of the Universe Oracle, which is also created by Saint Soleil. Thank you so much once again to Tarot Stack for providing these lovely decks. Okay, I zoomed out a bit because I think we'll need a bit more room. I did test this reading on myself, and I just wanted to mention that sometimes the piece of advice came across as an encouragement to take a certain action, and then other times it just came through as sort of an insight to keep in mind, like a piece of advice to remember something as I move forward. So it could come out in a couple of different ways. I will leave that up to your angels. I also wanted to mention that we will be taking reversals today. When I was finishing group number 1's reading, I had this thought in my head like, oh, group number 1 is finished now, 1 down, 4 to go. Like somehow I had it in my head that I was doing 5 groups today, but it's actually 3. And I thought that that might be significant for this group, for my group number 2s. So there could be a message in there about something, you being closer to finishing something than you realize. There could also be a specific message about thinking something is 5, but it's actually 3. And I was sitting with that message and I was thinking about the 5D and the 3D. So there could be something you're experiencing right now that you think is mostly happening in the 5D, but it's actually more grounded in the 3D than you realize. And then what I was thinking about is, for example, you might imagine that someone is sending you love in the 5D, or like someone's higher self is thinking of you. Someone's higher self is sending you energy. 333, as I'm saying this, it's actually happening more in the 3D than you realize, as in that person's 3D self is thinking of you, is sending you love. That's just one example, of course, but I think for many of you, there could be a message in there about something's more grounded than you think on this physical plane. You know, it's not just something that's happening in the non-physical realms. All right, let's get into it. The very first thing that I want to do is get a passage for you from the Child of the Universe guidebook. I love this guidebook. It is so thorough. It has so much knowledge and wonderful messages in it. So let's see what's in here for you. Ooh, okay, we have Capricorn on page 233. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. So this could be an important time frame for you, or perhaps you or someone significant is born during this period. The ambitious goat, which I'm thinking of goat as in like the goat, and 444 as I'm saying that. So maybe you're the goat, or you're meeting someone who you feel is the goat. The ambitious goat is always at the top. Oh, which it means greatest of all time, just in case, like GOAT. Slow and steady, cool and calculating, Capricorn is a hard-working and successful force to be reckoned with. The mountain goat has a destination in mind and will stop at nothing to reach its goal. Caring, conservative Capricorn is a great leader and a dedicated provider. Okay, so even if you don't have Capricorn placements, I think that you needed to see this message because you need to know that with the right efforts and with the right conviction, nothing will stop you from reaching your goal. Any obstacles in your way can be overcome. You also need to know that the obstacles are not there to deter you. The obstacles are not your angel saying to stop or to do something else. any obstacles in your way, you can overcome them. 555. You can affect the change you want. You can be the change that you want to see in the world. You can change whatever field you're stepping into. You can change whatever space you're stepping into with your ambition. And I was saying this for group number 1 as well, but I think you have more influence than you might realize. You have the power to influence the way people think, the way people believe, the way people see themselves, and you can use this for good. You may not want to be in a leader position, but I think that's because of preconceived notions you might have about leaders and about people in power. You know, if you've seen a lot of people in leader positions abuse their power or exploit the people who follow them and look up to them, then you might have, you know, a negative image of a leader archetype in your mind, and that might turn you off from wanting to be one. But I think many of you could thrive in a leadership role, and you could use that role to affect amazing, positive change. You're the ambitious goat. I also think that some of you could be meeting or connecting with a person you really, really admire. Someone you put at the top in your world. Someone, not like you put them on a pedestal, but they're at the top for you. You think they're the best of the best at what they do, the greatest of all time, one of the greats, and you're getting to meet them or connect with them or work with them or something like that. Okay, so let's get into your cards now, starting with your tarot, the Mystic Dreams Tarot. Five pieces of advice for my group number 2s. Okay, there's 1. I would also say to look at where Capricorn is in your chart, if you feel called to do that. Any placements you have in the sign of Capricorn, or just which house it occupies. Your angels might be drawing attention to those placements right now, or to that area of your life. So just as an example, for me, Capricorn is in my 9th house. So if this is my reading, maybe the angels are drawing attention to my deepening my spiritual knowledge, or attaining higher levels of education, or broadening my horizon. So seeing where Capricorn is in your chart, I think, could reveal what area of your life your angels want to bring to your attention. Okay, one more tarot card for my group number 2s. And now let's get our Child of the Universe Oracle cards. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, time for the reveal. So for our tarot cards, we have the Conqueror of Pentacles in reverse. So this is the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Six of Cups in the upright. We have the Two of Pentacles in the reverse. Oop. We have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. And we have the Chariot in the upright. Then for our oracle cards, we have cause and effect in reverse. We have Aries in the upright. And 1111, as I'm showing you this card. We have Cancer in the upright. Jupiter in the reverse. And Mars in the reverse. Okay, I'm just noticing, so far in your reading, 3 zodiac signs have come out: Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer. And these are all cardinal signs. I really think, my group number 2s, you could be amazing in a leadership role, or your soul has been trying to, oh, I heard pull you into a leadership role. So if your soul is pulling you, it's kind of like they're already there. And there was that message about something being more grounded in the 3D than you realize. And that might actually be your ideal self, your dream self, your desired reality. You're much closer to that than you think. This is also a time in your life for taking actions to start new things. So because of that cardinal energy, it's a new energy, it's a new action. You're in the initial stages of something. The message is future you has already been initiated, or the ideal you has already been initiated. You've already started the process of transforming into them. And this process will not be stopped unless you want it to be. Okay. Let's get into your pieces of advice. So the first one is the Knight of Pentacles in reverse and cause and effect in reverse. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse was giving me a feeling of doing something more slowly and more deliberately. Okay, this is the piece of advice. Do things one by one so that you know which one works and which one doesn't. And the clear example that I'm being shown is an elimination diet. So let's say something you're eating is making you sick and you don't know what it is. And then you cut out a bunch of things from your diet at the same time and you feel better. Okay, that's good because we know the result is that you feel better. But don't we want to know which one it was that was making you feel sick? And if you do something all at the same time, you won't be able to tell. So I think with elimination diets, it's like you cut out a bunch of things and then when you feel better, you start reintroducing them one by one. So that if you start to feel sick again, you can be like, okay, that's the one. So there's some piece of advice which is like, make sure, do something one by one so that you can single out the culprit, like single out the thing that was causing problems. Or conversely, so that you can single out the thing that is working. Be analytical about it. Focus not so much on the result of like, okay, I feel better, problem solved. Figure out the cause. Why do you feel better? Because if you figure out why, then you can recreate it over and over again. Like slow down and be analytical about something. Another example that's coming to my mind is someone who went through a career change and all they know is that I did not like my job before and I like it now and I'm so much happier. And the piece of advice from your angels is to take the time to dissect that. You know, what exactly is it about your current job that you like that is different from the previous one that you don't like? Figure out exactly what it is, because once you figure that out, you can intentionally search for that in other activities, in other areas of your life. Look at the details of something rather than just the holistic experience of like, oh, I feel better now. And you can apply this to anything, right? Like, oh, I like this song. It makes me feel good. Think about what it is about that song. Why do I like it versus I don't like that? And you'll be surprised. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. I feel like that also goes back to the message of something is more grounded in the 3D than you realize. Because I was also thinking of someone who imagines that it's all just intuition. You know, like, oh, that person gives me a bad feeling because I'm just picking up on it intuitively. Whereas they might actually be able to analyze and pinpoint the exact thing about that person that gives them a bad vibe. And that information will help them in the future. Maybe it can help them to avoid certain types of people in the future, rather than just taking everything as like an intuitive experience. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, like being more analytical so that you can pinpoint things versus just like winging it, and if it worked, and then moving on. Take your time to really dissect the experience. And when you find patterns, it can help you create more experiences in the future that you enjoy. Okay, so next we have the 6 of Cups and Aries. Okay, there's a couple of different ways to interpret this. I really feel like saying to you that your greatest soulmate is you. And that feels very nice to say. Your greatest soulmate is you. Your greatest companion is you. And when you feel drawn to certain things, it's actually because you see your own energy in it, and your soul is trying to come home to themselves. So, you know, if you see someone, I don't know, if you see a musician and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so cool, and you feel so drawn to them, that's really your soul recognizing themselves in that person, recognizing the musical side of them. When you feel drawn to someone, it's because your soul recognizes some beauty that exists within them, and your soul is trying to show you and remind you who you are. And this goes for anything that you might feel drawn to. The union that matters most to your soul is the union with themselves. It's the remembrance of themselves, the acceptance of themselves, and like rejoicing in that union. And when you center that in your decision making, in what you pursue, in your spiritual practice, that's what's going to lead to the most fulfillment. There's also something about reconnecting to the assertiveness and even selfishness of your child self. You know, when children are very small, they're pretty selfish, right? They're like, Mom, I don't care if you're tired. When? Or like, give me that, that's mine. Obviously, that's a bit extreme. We don't want to revert back to that energy. But as we get older, we can sometimes swing so far in the other direction that, like, imagine if a baby was starving or had a poop-filled diaper and they need their mom, but they're like, but she looks tired. I don't want to wake her up, so I'll just sit here. I don't want to bother her. I don't want to be a burden, you know? Like, babies don't do that. Little kids don't do that. It's something we learn. And yes, it's good to learn to consider others, but not to the point that we're going to stifle our own needs. And so your angels might be suggesting that you have swung quite a bit to the other side and are trying to help you come back and remember that part of your child self who spoke up when they needed something, who considered themselves more. It's something that you know how to do. It's something that you've done before. Yes, for those of you who are struggling to find the courage to set boundaries or to speak up about your needs or to speak up for yourself, your angels are saying, don't you remember there was a time in your life where you could do this with ease? Think back to that time. And this can be applied to many things as well. Maybe you're feeling a creative block and your angels are encouraging you to think back. They're encouraging you to go back to the past with this Six of Cups. There's a past version of you that you can learn a lot from. You know, we often talk about looking to our future self for inspiration and looking to our future self as a sort of role model, or even looking to our future self as someone who has all the answers of like who we should become. But your angels are saying, don't forget that past versions of you have a lot of wisdom as well. Something that happened to me recently is when I was back in Canada, we were cleaning out the basement and I found my diary from when I was 15. And I gave teenage me a lot of shit, you know, but when I read my 15-year-old self's diary, I found that there were many ways that she was actually wiser than me, because she just let herself be passionate about what she was passionate about and didn't try to hide it away out of a fear of being like cringe or a fear of being too much. She just let it fly and was very passionate and creative and expressive. And I'm like, oh, that's what I'm trying to be now. And I kind of forgot that it's not something I'm striving for in a future version of me. It's actually something I already mastered in the past that I'm trying to come back to. So I think your angels are reminding you past you has more wisdom than you might realize. Past you might have the answers. Okay. For piece of advice number 3, we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse and we have the sign of Cancer. Okay, this is about protecting your energy. And when I say that, I don't mean from like bad juju or something. I mean literally your energetic capacities. You know, we only have so much energy in a day. We can only make so much effort in a day. We can only focus on so many problems in a day. This is like your physical and mental energy and your efforts. Protect that, save that. Is there anything else to elaborate on there? Preserve your energy for yourself and for your loved ones, rather than using it on, I don't know how to phrase this, because it's like, there's you and your immediate circle, which is like your family, your friends, your loved ones. And then there's the other people outside of that. And it's not that those people don't matter, but it's that these people are a priority. And then you are the biggest priority in the center of that. It's like if someone, this is just an example, right? If someone was trying to be friends with everybody and help everybody, and then their energy is so spread out that they can't show up 100% for their immediate family. It's like reeling our energy back in and saving it for ourself and saving it for our immediate surroundings. Focus on what's at home. Focus on what's immediately around you. Start smaller. Start on a smaller scale. Focus on what you can control. You may not be able to help the entire world, but maybe you can help people in your neighborhood or people in your family. Maybe there's a part of you that feels pressure to help everything or help everyone. And your angels are lovingly reminding you about the ripple effect. You know, even just helping and caring for yourself, that will ripple out to your loved ones, and that will ripple out to their communities. Or even just helping one person, then that one person can go on to help 2 people. Those 2 people go on to help another 2 people. So you can help dozens of people just by helping yourself or just by helping one other person, because it ripples out. You don't have to actually worry about directly helping dozens and dozens of people. Then your energy is going to get scattered and you're going to burn out. And I get it, because you do care so deeply about everyone. And I think you wish that you were able to take on all of these problems or to help all of these people. But there's only so much energy we have in a day. And you should never feel guilty about not being able to help everyone or not being able to do it all. I think that's really what this message comes down to. There's no need to feel guilty about not being able to do it all, because nobody can. Nobody can help everyone. And you're no exception to that. You're just one person. That's another insight from your angels. You are just one person. And don't get me wrong, one person can make a huge difference, but no one person can make all the difference alone. And you shouldn't put that pressure on yourself. So preserve your energy and give yourself some grace, because at the end of the day, you're only one person. Yeah. Okay. Piece of advice number 4. We have the 5 of Pentacles in reverse, and we have Jupiter in the reverse. The feeling that this one was giving me, and I don't know if this is advice or more so just something your angels are going to show you soon. I imagined someone making a bunch of money and not actually feeling more abundant, or like not actually feeling the fulfillment that they thought they were going to have. I'm not bashing money, by the way. It can be very helpful, and it can definitely ease a lot of stresses and a lot of worries. So maybe for some of you, this is not literally money, but there's a feeling of getting something you desired and not feeling much different. And with the 5 of Pentacles, it will probably have to do with something material, like some kind of possessions or something superficial. So an easy example of this would be like, if you see on social media, all these people have fancy designer clothes, and then you think you should get them too, because then you're going to feel cool like them, or you're going to feel beautiful like them, and you're going to feel like successful and rich like them. And then you manage to get these designer clothes, and you realize that you don't actually feel cooler in them, and you don't feel more beautiful in them. You're like, actually, I feel just as beautiful in my regular clothes. So there's some lesson that you're learning, but I think it actually takes getting the thing to realize that it's not gonna make you happy. Another example would be someone who's sharing their talents on social media, and maybe they want to get a bunch of views because they think that's going to make them, like, validate them that they're good at what they do. And then they get that bunch of views and they're like, interesting. I don't actually feel more confident in what I do. I feel just about as confident as I did before. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that I got those views, just realizing that it didn't have as much of an impact as I thought. And I think that this is actually a very good thing, because then you stop putting your happiness in those things. You stop making those things a condition to feel happy. You know, that person who finally got the designer clothes and was like, oh, I actually don't feel any cooler or any more beautiful. I feel like that's actually a good thing, because then they realize they don't have to put the fancy clothes on a pedestal. They don't have to strive for it. They can already feel beautiful in this moment. You're kind of realizing the unimportance of something material that you were once longing for. And it takes you receiving it to realize like, oh, this is not actually what makes me happy. And that's beautiful. And you're tapping into that real abundance that comes from within. So that's why I say it's not really advice. It's just something that, an insight perhaps that your angels are trying to show you, and something, a conclusion you'll come to as you live through that experience. And then finally we have the Chariot in the upright and Mars in the reverse. This one is interesting for me because the Chariot talks about forward motion, you know, going full speed ahead. But Mars in the reverse, okay. Because Mars in the upright, it would feel like drive, motivation. So we're moving forward without drive, or we're moving forward without motivation. Maybe this is that message like, you don't need motivation to do stuff. You don't need to wait around to get motivated. Some of you might know I like to run, and I don't know if this is some weird psychological thing, but it's always the days that I don't feel like running that I end up like breaking my personal record. It's the days that I'm like, ugh, I'm so tired. Like, I want to just lie on the couch and take a nap. I just want to play my mobile game. I don't feel like running today. I feel lethargic. I don't want to. And I'm like dreading it. And then I'm just like, I go and do it anyway. And I break my record. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably because on those days, I don't expect anything of myself. And probably when I don't expect anything, I don't feel pressure, and then I perform better. Because conversely, on the days where I'm like, yeah, I'm super energized, I'm gonna kill it today, let's go, then I have like a a very average run, or I'm like lower than my average. So I think it's like, you don't need to wait to feel hyped and motivated to do stuff. And in fact, it might work to your advantage. If you're feeling really tired, you don't feel like doing something, tell yourself, it's okay. We don't have to do it well today. We can just show up and do a half-assed job because it's better than doing nothing. And then you may be surprised when you show up that, showing up with putting no pressure and no expectations actually works in your favor. So maybe sometimes you have that feeling of like, if I can't do it well, I might as well not do it. It feels like a bit of perfectionism, perhaps. But, you can just lazily show up, don't expect anything from yourself, and just start kind of lugging away at it. I don't know if that's an expression, but it is now. And you'll be surprised. You will be surprised what you can accomplish even on those days. In fact, you might accomplish more than the days when you're super fired up about it. So don't fall into that trap that like, I need to be motivated to do it. You don't. You just need to show up. And there's that, I don't know if you've ever seen that, it's like a graphic that I see shared on social media sometimes. And it's like, this is what people think consistency looks like. And this is what consistency actually is. So it's like consistency doesn't mean you have to give your 100% every day. It just means showing up. And sometimes you're going to have bad days and sometimes you're going to have good days. And you might notice that there's not really much of a correlation between how motivated you are going into it and how well you do. So don't let that be a factor. And I keep hearing it as like, don't fall into the trap of feeling like you need motivation. Interesting. Okay, group number 2, those are your 5 pieces of advice. So I'm gonna end your reading here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. This picture that I drew, it's giving trypophobia, girl. I'm not gonna look at that. Sorry if that was bothering anybody. Yeah, thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you, and thank you so much to your angels as well. Thank you so much to Saint Soleil for creating these decks. Thank you to Tarot Stack for providing these decks and for sponsoring this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 exclusive timeless pick a card videos just like the ones on my channel. We also have 2 new ones every month, and you can decide on the topics for future videos. Like I mentioned in the intro, this topic today was suggested over on Patreon, so that's going to be linked down below. And my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video, that is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really, really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to your angels, your higher self, anyone who appeared in this reading and their higher self, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Hi number 3s, and welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much to your angels as well. So basically, for each of the 5 pieces of advice, we are going to be using 1 tarot card from the Lucid Dreams tarot that you guys chose, and then 1 oracle card from the Child of the Universe Oracle, which this is also created by Saint Soleil, the same creator. Thank you so much once again to Tarot Stack for providing these lovely decks. I did test this reading on myself, and I noticed that sometimes it came through as a piece of advice to take some action, and then other times it came through as more of an insight, like just something to remember, something your angels want to remind you of as you move forward. So I'm going to leave that open to your angels, whatever type of guidance they would like to give you. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that we will be using reversals today, because I want to use the feature of this deck which has keywords on both sides. In terms of intuitive messages, all that was really coming up for my group number 3s is a bat, like the animal. I just see the visual of a bat, that's all. And I also saw 111 while filming your group. So those could be significant signs for you. No worries if they're not. That's just a little bit of extra confirmation for those who may need it. But before we get into the cards, I do want to get a passage for you from the Child of the Universe guidebook. This is a very thorough guidebook. It has so much knowledge and so many beautiful messages. So let's see what we have for my group number 3s. Okay, insight and enlightenment. Okay, so this is the passage for one of the cards in this deck. So I think we'll read this passage. It's on page 416 and 417 in case that's significant. The dates April 16th and April 17th could be significant. And I also just saw 222. Okay, Insight and Enlightenment sings of a native intuition that is very organic and in natural order within the cosmos. It walks, talks, breathes, and thinks in tune with the celestial universe. This card is not only about intuitive insight, but a deeper knowing that comes with a vibrational understanding of the microcosm within that reflects the external macrocosm of the universe, as the card's illustration depicts. It also speaks to claircognizance abilities of known knowledge. Understand that we are energetic beings of light, fragments of our larger soul having individual and unique life experiences. This is your opportunity to explore the world around you as a projection of all that you are from within. You're here to walk another lifetime of expansion and enlightenment. Any troubles or trials you face are best solved from within. Listen to the guiding voice of your higher self and vibrational dialogue with Divine Source. You harbor the experiential wisdom of many lifetimes here on Earth, so don't be afraid to tap into this stream of consciousness. You are an old soul. Remember, any action you pour into dreams, goals, and projects now will be of great benefit to yourself and others. You walk with knowledge, wisdom, and spirit. You are a beacon of light. Shine brightly for others to see and follow. The biggest thing that was jumping out at me here was the message of claircognizance. Your angels really want to remind you that you are in tune with the divine source, and that any answers you may be seeking right now, you can already find within. Okay? So, let's get into your cards now. That's so funny. Your passage was on page 417, and as soon as we're getting into your reading, I just looked up and the camera timer was at 417. So be on the lookout for that number, or like April 17th or July 14th could be significant dates somehow. Aries or Cancer energy could be significant. Okay, starting with the tarot, we're going to get 5 cards from here for your 5 pieces of advice. These are coming out very smoothly. I feel like that's a good sign. Everything is going according to plan. I do have a visual of someone packing up cardboard boxes. So that could be a confirmation for those of you who are moving homes or moving offices. Someone could be moving in and that's bringing a blessing. Someone could be moving out and that's bringing a blessing. You also need to know, don't worry about the manifestation of your desires hindering other people or messing with other people's path, because the universe is extremely intelligent and has a much larger perspective than what we do inside our human vessels, and already sees the way to bring you your manifestation that is in accordance with everybody else's journey. So if you're ever thinking like, oh, I want to manifest this, but maybe that's gonna mess up this person's path, or maybe that's gonna get in the way of this other person's journey, that is not the case. So you don't need to feel guilty or selfish when you're manifesting for yourself. I really like these two together. I feel like this is my favorite pairing of all the groups, aesthetically, you know? Okay, and one last oracle card for my group number 3s. They're coming out so smoothly, eh? Just shoop, shoop, shoop. Very nice. Okay, so time for the card reveal. For our tarot cards, we have the 3 of Wands in reverse, 714 as I'm holding this up. 417, 714. These are significant numbers somehow. We have the Eight of Swords in reverse. The Queen of Pentacles in the upright. The Empress in the upright, beautiful. And the Five of Swords in the reverse. Then for our oracle cards, we have Opportunity for Change. Okay. Waning Gibbous in reverse. Journey in the upright. Earth in the upright. And Aquarius in the upright. Okay, so we're just going to go through these in order and see what your 5 pieces of advice are. So we are starting off with the Three of Wands in reverse and Opportunity for Change in the upright. This is pretty specific. This is a message for those of you who don't necessarily want to move on from something, but feel like you have to. And your angels are saying, well, just wait a little bit longer because you may not have to move on. There is opportunity for change where you already are. The example I'm being shown is somebody saying, I like my job, I like the people at my job, but I'm just not getting paid enough. So it's like, deep down in their heart, maybe they don't want to leave, but when they think about the reality of the situation, when they think about it in more practical terms, they feel like they should walk away. And your angels are saying, well, hold on a second, because we can arrange for you to get a raise at your current job. You might not have to go looking elsewhere to get what you need, because it's possible for things to change in the current situation. So, of course, that can be applied in many different ways, but this is also giving me the energy of watering. I don't even know what the expression is, but the idea of it is to water your own garden before running off to another one because you feel like there's better conditions over there. You can create the ideal conditions you want here with just a bit of effort. And going off to the next thing might not be the solution to the problem. So that's your first piece of advice. It's funny that I saw someone packing things up into cardboard boxes. Maybe I was seeing that because there's like a desire to move. Maybe somebody thinks moving is going to solve their problems and it's not. Moving, I don't know, someone wants to like escape to another city or to another country. And it's not necessarily saying to not do that, but just wait a minute, because there might be an opportunity to get what you want where you currently are. And if anything, maybe then you can see how you really feel about it. If you get the opportunity to get what you want where you currently are, and you still want to go somewhere else, then who am I to stop you? But this does seem like just wait a minute, because and I think this is especially for those of you who don't actually want to move on, but you just feel like you have to. And your angels are saying it's okay, because whatever opportunity you want is going to find you here. Okay, next piece of advice is the Eight of Swords in reverse and Waning Gibbous in reverse. For our keywords here, we have freedom, new awareness, release, surrender, survivor, liberation, escape, and facing fears. I really like the Eight of Swords in reverse because in the upright, it can talk about like holding ourselves back, sort of being in our own mental prison. I wonder if these go together, there could be a message about feeling the urge to free yourself, but maybe inaccurately thinking that the way you free yourself is by walking away from something, when really the liberation is happening internally. It would be, and so that example works very well then of someone feeling like they need to move away to solve their problems, but then they realize that the problems are within them. It's the vibe of someone walking away from a relationship and going to a new shiny one that looks much better, but then encountering the same problems in that new relationship because the problems were actually coming from within. So I kind of feel like these are going together. And again, this is not your angel saying, don't walk away from something, don't move on from something. I think what they're saying is, make sure that you have solved your inner problems first. And if you solve those inner problems and you still want to walk away, then you can do so with confidence. But some of you might solve your inner problems and realize that you don't actually want to walk away anymore. So don't be hasty about it, or don't be impulsive about it. Like if you're in a relationship and you feel like things aren't working out, it may be possible to create a better outcome with communication, with working together, with healing. You might do that and realize now that your relationship is thriving. I think the big piece of advice is trying to solve things internally first. And if you do all that and you still want to change your external reality, you still want to go somewhere else, then you can know that that desire is really based on the desire to go somewhere rather than a desire to escape your current reality. I hope that that makes sense. We have the waning gibbous, which is what comes right after a full moon. So I also think there's a piece of advice from your angels to give yourself a cooling down period, because the full moon represents a time where emotions are very high, the energy is very intense. It can feel like there's tension, it can feel highly strung. When the moon starts waning, that's the cooling down period. So give yourself the time to process things before making impulsive decisions. I keep getting this feeling of someone who impulsively wants to quit something, or someone who impulsively wants to walk away, and the angels being like, hold on, like, let's cool down, let's think about this. Walking away might not be the solution to our problems, because we might walk away to a new place and just have the same pattern over and over again. So like, let's just take time to process what has happened, and maybe there's things we can do to change and improve the situation from where we currently are. Yes, I feel like these two go together. Number 3, we have the Queen of Pentacles in the upright, and we have Journey. This feels like some journey to mastery being easier than you thought, because mountains represent obstacles, but you can see here that the path is not going over the mountains. It found a way through them. It found an efficient way. This feels like a path of least resistance. And there's some journey to mastery that you are going through that can be easier, that can be done with less resistance. So this could be you mastering a skill This could be you reaching a financial goal, reaching the top of your career path, finding success in your business. Your angels are saying there's an easier way to do it. I can even see how these go together. It's like you're coming up here and you're like, oh, there's too many mountains. This is going to be too hard. I'm leaving. And your angels are like, wait, like just look at them a bit longer, because you're going to find that there's actually a path that goes in between the mountains. They really seem to be driving home this point of we don't have to give up. We don't have to walk away just yet. There's an easier way. There's an easier way to do things. And I feel like some of you could be, wow, okay, the way it's coming through is that you are at the precipice of a breakthrough, but you're starting to get frustrated. Like, this is too hard, this is too overwhelming, forget about it. And your angels are really, they don't want you to give up, because it's like you're so close to hitting the gold mine. You're so close to hitting the jackpot. Don't let the look of these mountains scare you away. It might look very hard and overwhelming, but there's a path between the mountains. I'm also thinking of the expression work smarter, not harder. You may be looking at your goals, looking at the journey before you and thinking like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. And your angels are saying you don't actually have to work harder to reach this goal. You just have to be a little bit more efficient. You don't have to do any more work than you're doing now. There's a way to make this easier. You also have rabbits on your Queen of Pentacles card, which is a sign of fertility. It's a sign of your blessings multiplying quickly and exponentially. You know, think of a species multiplying. It happens at an exponential rate. That's why your cards were coming out so quickly and smoothly, because things are accelerating for you. Your blessings are growing exponentially, especially like your money, your success, recognition. And you need to know you don't have to do any more work or any harder work than you are now. You can work the same amount as you are now, just in a smarter way. I'm thinking of an athlete who is training. If you're training improperly, if you're training in an inefficient way, it's going to take a lot longer to reach your goals. Versus if you have a very clear workout plan and you're doing like all this supplementation and you're resting well, like if you know what you're doing and you're doing it efficiently, you don't actually have to train harder to get the results you want. So I think there's a piece of advice here to either actively search for more efficient ways to do your work or to just be open to it. And I actually think that's a big thing for a lot of you, being open to it. Because sometimes our ego doesn't like the easier way. And I'm thinking of the arts. Like there's so much technology and tools at our disposal now that can make the process quicker and easier. And I mean, whether or not you use them is up to you. If you enjoy doing it the traditional way that takes more work, that's awesome. But then sometimes people get judgmental towards other artists who use like more efficient methods and say like I'm just looking at I didn't even know anything about the online DJ community, but I have CDJ, the digital version, and I swear all the comment sections are full of people being like, that's not DJing, that's just turning knobs. Real DJs use vinyl. And it's like, it's an ego thing, right? Like who cares if it's easier? If it's a vibe, it's a vibe. If we're having fun, we're having fun. Like it's art. And I think sometimes our ego doesn't like certain like efficient ways or easier ways because feels less validating or something. We kind of want to glorify our struggle. Maybe that's not the perfect example, but you might have some kind of egoic resistance to taking an easier way. I'll just put it that way. I don't even know if that was a good example. It's just what I thought of off the top of my head. I think being open to that easier path is the big thing for a lot of you. Next, we have the Empress and we have Earth. They're both in the upright. And I think this is so cool that in this deck, the Empress is pregnant with the Earth. Like, you can see in here, that's the planet Earth. And then we have Earth here. So this is a pretty clear message. It's you birthing your ideal Earth. You birthing the world that you want to live in. Your angels want to remind you that what you manifest for your life, it can go beyond just your individual experiences. You can manifest changes for the world, and that is something that is very powerful. Each person has their own world that they live in, and you can manifest any world that you envision, any ideal future that you envision. Maybe this is a piece of advice from your angels to incorporate more, I'm hearing global wishes. I don't know, like rather than, and maybe you already do this. If you already do this, I feel like it's a confirmation that it's working. But, you know, if you were journaling your manifestations rather than just saying like, I'm manifesting blah, blah, blah for myself, think of what you want for the world, because you actually can make it happen. Maybe that's also something that feels big and overwhelming, but setting intentions for the world really works. And when you do that, the universe can show you ways that you can be a part of affecting that change. No change is too big or too small. You can make it happen. There may also be a piece of advice to car honking outside, okay, to be conscious, you know, as you move through your life, be conscious of the world that you are birthing. Be conscious of the world you're birthing. This is something that has come out for every single group now, that you have more impact than you realize. You are more influential than you realize. And there's been this common message throughout the groups of like the ripple effect. Like one action you take influencing or inspiring these people, and then they inspire more and more and more people. Never think that you cannot make a difference in the world. Never think that you cannot birth the world that you want to see or be a part of birthing that like new earth kind of thing. A peaceful and thriving earth. The power to create that is within you. You may also feel, I'm just looking at this Empress image. Some of you may feel, okay, the word earth angel is coming to my mind, but I was going to say you may feel like a protector of the earth, a protector of the land, of nature, of animals, of life in general. There could be a piece of advice from your angels to explore that calling more, take more time out of your day to commune with nature. I'm hearing that is never time wasted. It's funny how we get tricked into thinking that that's not productive or that's a waste of time. Our priorities are so backwards. Well, I'm not saying you, but just society. It's like, I gotta get back to my screen, you know, gotta get back to my computer. That's where the real important stuff is. And it's like, what if the real important thing is being a witness to this tree, being a witness to these baby ducklings in the pond, you know? Yeah, definitely connecting with nature, with this Empress energy, with earth. That's like grounding and connecting with nature. Your angels are saying that is the most productive thing you can do. That's like the best use of your time when you think about it, because your time on earth is just one experience out of the many that you will have. And enjoy your time here. Be on earth, be out in the world, be outside, marvel at the earth. Yeah. Number 5, we have the 5 of Swords in reverse, and we have Aquarius. Both of these are Aquarius cards. The 5 of Swords is also related to Aquarius. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the passage that we read for you at the very start of the reading is also Aquarius. So Aquarian energy coming through very strongly. Perhaps Aquarius season is going to be a very significant time for you. So like late January to late February. I also want to see what the Aquarius passage says in this guidebook. So I'm just gonna flip over to it here. It's on page 239. Quirky Aquarius marches to the beat of its own drum. The water bearer is actually an air sign whose dual nature creates a unique intellectual and social individual who cares deeply for community and mankind. While Aquarius prefers ideas over emotions, their stimulating personality earns them fast friends. So some things jumping out at me. First of all, this period could be significant. January 20 to February 18th, roughly. Embracing what makes you quirky, embracing what makes you unique, marching to the beat of your own drum, embracing your duality. You have both, a detached intellectual side, and you also have a deeply attached emotional side. They are both valid and they can coexist together, and they can benefit you at different times. Sometimes, in order to serve the collective best, we should be really in our emotional nature. We should be feeling all the feelings really deeply. And sometimes to serve the collective, we have to kind of be detached. Both of those are tools at your disposal, and don't fall for the societal trap of valuing one over the other. Most commonly, we value the detached rational side over the attached emotional side. Do not fall for that. They're both equally important and equally beautiful. And you can discern which will serve you at different moments, which will best serve the collective. You care deeply for community and mankind. And I think that goes to like birthing your ideal world and your ideal future. We talk a lot about remembering our past lives, but you can also tap into your future incarnations, because they're kind of all happening at the same time, aren't they? Let's look at these affirmations as well. I am aligned with my highest and will thereby create order and peace naturally. I release my struggle with life. I am a master of physical manifestations and know that I will always achieve my goals. I clearly envision my aspirations and know the path to get me there. I choose to manifest consciously and with integrity. I am determined, steadfast, and consistent. I allow my energy or that of the situation to be firmly grounded in the earth. I watch as this stability allows for further fruitful growth. I feel like these are all for you. Feel free to pause or take a screenshot. I feel like these are all very helpful affirmations for you. Your angels could also be drawing attention to like a significant Aquarius in your life, or your own Aquarius placements. If you don't have any planets there, I feel like a lot of us have like Neptune, Uranus, Neptune, around that area. But if you don't have any placements there, you could also look at what house in your birth chart Aquarius occupies. If you're familiar with your birth chart and you feel called to, your angels may be wanting to draw attention to that area of your life. For example, for me, Aquarius is in my 10th house. So if this is my reading, maybe my angels are drawing attention to my career, my public image, and things like that. We have the Five of Swords in reverse, which feels like a conflict resolution, peace after trouble, making amends, reconciliation, resolution. Those keywords are jumping out at me. And we have Aquarius energy here. So when it comes to conflict resolution or addressing a conflict, your angels seem to be suggesting that taking the more detached and rational approach will be best. Like we just talked about, there's a time and place for both energies. And when it comes to resolving a certain conflict in your life, they seem to be suggesting to take the more rational and detached approach. So that will be a message for those of you who are currently going through a conflict that you want to resolve. But I think that those are all the pieces of advice for my group number 3s. So thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Thank you so much once again to Saint Soleil for creating these decks and to Tarot Stack for providing them and for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch now over 100 exclusive readings that are timeless, just like the ones on my channel. And there's also 2 new ones every month, and you get to decide the topics for future readings. Like I mentioned in the intro, the topic that we did today was actually suggested over on Patreon, so I will have that link down below. And my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video, that is an original song. I will also have my latest release link down below. Group number 3, thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you, and thank you so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. And I'm sending so much love to you, to your angels as well, to your higher self, to anyone who appeared in this reading and to their higher self, to your whole spiritual team and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.